Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. A survivor walks through the destroyed streets of Nagasaki, Japan in 1945, days after the explosion of the bomb dropped during World War II. Photographers position themselves with special equipment to capture tests conducted at Bikini Atoll in 1946. The images were part of the so-called Operation Crossroads, conducted by the United States to observe the effects of large explosions. A V-1 flying bomb is captured mid-flight moments before hitting London in 1945. These weapons were launched by Germany during the final stages of World War II as part of a campaign of attacks against the United Kingdom. A soldier extends his hand to help a survivor out of a cave in a touching scene captured during a rescue operation in a conflict zone. Crew members of a German submarine enjoy a rare moment of leisure swimming in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in 1944. The image shows sailors of a U-boat taking a break from operations, diving near the vessel. An American soldier carefully holds an injured Japanese boy, offering shelter from the rain inside his plane while they await help. The scene took place during the final stages of World War II and shows a rare moment of compassion amidst the conflict. Gunner Hector Morgan returns home and reunites with his family in 1945 after the end of World War II. The image shows a moment of emotion and relief, reflecting the reunion of thousands of soldiers with their loved ones after years of conflict. Lo Man Hung, at just 12 years old, is photographed on February 18, 1968, in South Vietnam as the youngest Vietnamese photojournalist of the time. Ozzy Osbourne at the age of 4 in 1952. Long before becoming globally known as the Prince of Darkness and the lead singer of the band Black Sabbath, Ozzy was just a young boy in Aston, Birmingham, England. Alfred Hitchcock and his wife Alma Reville are photographed aboard the RMS Queen Mary in 1938. The couple frequently traveled between the United Kingdom and the United States during the period when Hitchcock was establishing his career in international cinema. Abraham Lincoln is seen, indicated by a red arrow, about to deliver his speech in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, in 1863. This moment would mark one of the most famous speeches in U.S. history, the Gettysburg Address. A British sailor is seen freeing a man from chains who had been held captive for 3 years. Lon Chaney is seen in 1928 dressed as a clown in one of his last performances in silent film. Known as the Man of 1,000 Faces, Chaney was famous for his impressive visual transformations and for playing complex characters. An old Halloween costume, possibly from the 1920s or 1930s, with a look considered unsettling by today's standards. A young person poses next to a wild boar in a rural area in an undated photograph, but likely from the early 20th century. The scene shows the bond between people and animals in agricultural or hunting environments common in rural areas of Europe or the United States. Karl Kraul, a German animal psychologist, is seen conducting telepathy research between humans and dogs in the early 20th century. A tram collides with a wall in Woolwich, London, in 1946. The accident occurred in the post-World War II period, when the city was still recovering from years of bombings and damaged infrastructure. Abandoned military jeeps in a field somewhere in liberated Europe in the summer of 1945. After the end of World War II, it was common to find vehicles and equipment left behind by the Allied forces. Makeshift shelters occupy an area of Central Park in New York in 1932. The scene portrays one of the many camps formed by homeless individuals during the Great Depression, a period of severe economic crisis in the United States. Allied nurses arrive in the city of Balanga, in the Bataan province of the Philippines in 1944, to provide medical assistance during the liberation campaign of World War II. A German soldier helps a boy cross the newly constructed Berlin Wall in 1961, defying official orders. The barrier, built by East Germany to prevent escapes to the western side of the city, separated families and friends overnight. A group of men watches the massive structure of a British airship in 1919. The scene was captured during the early years of lighter-than-air aircraft use in the United Kingdom. The bed and size 37 AA shoes of Robert Wadlow, known as the Gentle Giant, in 1937. He is recognized as the tallest man in history, standing at 8 feet 11.1 inches tall. A Native American watches the passage of a train from the new Transcontinental Railroad in Nevada in 1868. The Three Chiefs was taken on the Great Plains of the United States around 1900. The photograph depicts three Native American leaders dressed in full ceremonial attire, including headdresses and hand-embroidered clothing. A group of pioneers poses next to an advertisement in Montana, United States, in 1901. Wearing typical frontier clothing, they represent the settlers who established themselves in the West during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Men display and sell dinosaur footprints extracted from the limestone bed of the Paluxy River in Texas in 1954. The region became famous for containing fossilized tracks left by dinosaurs millions of years ago, preserved in the rocks over time. The 9 kings of Europe gather for the first and only time for a photograph during the funeral of King Edward VII in London in 1910. The Face of War is a painting created by Salvador Dalí in 1940, shortly after the artist left Europe amid the impact of the Spanish Civil War and the onset of World War II. In 1956, the canals of Venice were drained and cleaned as part of a restoration effort. The operation allowed for the removal of sediments, debris, and objects accumulated over the years, helping preserve the structure of the city's waterways. Behind the scenes of the 1954 film Godzilla shows a crew member adjusting the iconic monster's suit before filming. A flying saucer-shaped gas station catches attention in Kiev, in the then Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic during the 1980s. With a futuristic design typical of Soviet modernist architecture, the structure reflected the era's interest in bold shapes and space-inspired designs. Charlie Chaplin and Anna Pavlova are seen together in 1922, in a rare meeting between two of the greatest artistic figures of the early 20th century. Chaplin, known for his iconic character, the Tramp, was already one of the most famous filmmakers and comedians in the world. Stephen King appears as a child on a lawn in the United States during the 1950s. Bob Marley, at 20 years old, is photographed at his wedding to Rita Anderson in 1966 in Jamaica. The simple ceremony marked the beginning of a lasting personal and musical partnership. Salvador Dalí and his wife, Gala Dalí, are seen together in a historic photograph from 1935. The couple formed a significant artistic and personal partnership, with Gala being not only an inspiring muse, but also a manager and central figure in the artist's life. A worker operates at a steel mill in Winterthur, Switzerland in 1943. Although Switzerland remained neutral during World War II, the country kept its industry active, including steel production, to meet internal and neighboring countries' demands. Lillian Boyer performs a daring aerial stunt in the United States in 1922. Known as one of the first female aerial acrobats, she started her career after a joyride and quickly gained attention for her performances in midair. A female school basketball team poses for a photo around 1910. Wearing long uniforms and flat-soled shoes, the players reflect the early involvement of women in organized sports in the United States. Street acrobats perform on the sidewalks of New York in 1931, demonstrating balance and strength in front of a small audience. During the Great Depression, street performers found public performances as a means of livelihood and expression. Waitresses serve customers during Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany. In 1928, dressed in traditional Bavarian attire, they balance multiple mugs amidst the crowd of the famous festival. Nena von Schliebrugge, the mother of actress Uma Thurman, appears in a photo shoot in the 1950s. Born in Mexico City in 1941 and raised in Europe, Nena started her career as a model at a young age, standing out for her elegance and striking presence. Jill Haworth and David McCallum appear together in the episode The Sixth Finger of the series The Outer Limits, aired in 1963. The production was part of the show's first season, known for its unique approach to science fiction, with scripts exploring themes such as evolution, technology, and ethics. Emperor Napoleon III, leader of France, appears alongside his wife, Empress Eugénie, around 1865. The image depicts the couple during the French Second Empire, a period marked by modernization in the country and a strong international political presence. Comet, the elephant, interacts with staff while taking orders at the Trocadero in London in 1938. This unusual scene was part of a promotional campaign at the famous Entertainment Center, known for its halls, restaurants, and performances. Children play in Mullins Alley, New York, in 1888. The scene shows the reality of working-class families at the end of the 19th century, when many immigrants lived in densely populated areas with little infrastructure. Students in Pittsburgh celebrate from the top of the Cathedral of Learning during the 1960 World Series. The iconic tower of the University of Pittsburgh served as a gathering point for the historic celebration when the Pirates defeated the New York Yankees. The famous image known as lunch atop a skyscraper shows 11 workers having lunch while sitting on a steel beam suspended hundreds of feet above the ground, with Manhattan in the background. One of the three enormous chimneys of the Titanic being built in the early 1900s. These impressive structures were designed to release the steam generated by the ship's boilers, as well as contribute to its imposing appearance. The first Mercedes-Benz AMG was created in 1967 when engineers Hans Werner Aufrecht and Erhard Melcher founded AMG in Germany. The company began by modifying Mercedes-Benz engines for racing. The tram terminal number 58 at Zuglagate Station in Budapest is shown in operation in 1977. Located in a wooded area on the outskirts of the Hungarian capital, the stop served as a popular destination for locals seeking leisure and contact with nature. A man in 1984 attempts to transfer files from his Commodore 64 to his first Apple computer. At that time, system compatibility was extremely limited, and data transfer required creativity and technical knowledge. This church, built 134 years ago, underwent a deep cleaning for the first time. For decades, it was believed that the stones making up its structure were naturally dark, but the removal of centuries of pollution and soot revealed the true light color of the facade. A man sits next to his small adobe house, sharing the scene with a dog on the table, beside a stream in Las Vegas in 1895. Long before becoming a center of entertainment and casinos, Las Vegas was a peaceful community in the Nevada desert. A young mestiza from Sangli poses for a portrait in the Philippines in 1885. The term Sangli was used during the Spanish colonial era to refer to Chinese immigrants and their descendants. Elvis Presley poses with his motorcycles in Memphis in 1956 at the height of his rise as a rock star. Known for his bold style and passion for vehicles, Elvis was often seen with Harley-Davidson models and other classic motorcycles of the era. A female couple poses in semi-drag wedding attire in Budapest in the then Kingdom of Hungary around 1920. Portable changing cabins are set up on the sand during a beach day in the 1930s. A businessman and his secretary work inside a pool during a heat wave in Berlin, Germany in 1926. Daleks move through the streets of Cardiff, Wales, escorted by police officer Glyn Pocket in 1964. The scene was part of a promotional campaign for the British TV series Doctor Who, which had premiered the previous year. One of the first known photographs of barricades in the streets of Paris was taken during the French Revolution of 1848. A house about 700 years old, built directly into the rocks, is located in what is now Iraq. Structures like this were made by utilizing natural formations for thermal insulation and protection from the harsh climate of the region. A peasant and his property are depicted in the village of Grand Pixili, Kasimovsky County, in the Russian Empire, in 1910. An airplane flies over a junkyard in New Mexico, United States, in 1962. The scene shows the fusion of technology and disposal in an era marked by rapid industrial advancement and mass consumption. Pilots from the British Air Transport Auxiliary, ATA, were recruited to serve as transport pilots during World War II between 1939 and 1945 in England. A young woman relaxes on the beach in northern France, in the Normandy region, in the early 1900s. Dressed in typical swimwear of the time, which covered much of the body, she enjoys the coastal weather in a moment of leisure. The Goldstein brothers pose in front of their booth shop in the East End of London in an image taken at the end of the 19th or early 20th century. Laura, a 6-year-old girl, poses for a photo while picking fruit at the Jenkins farm. The image, taken in the early 20th century, depicts child labor, which was common in rural areas of the United States at that time. Plainclothes police officers operate on the streets of Los Angeles in 1960 during an operation aimed at identifying and detaining pickpockets. Disguised as ordinary civilians, the agents carefully observed high-traffic areas such as public transport points and shopping centers. Albert Einstein is photographed in 1922 alongside members of a Native American delegation during a visit to the United States. In November 1966, New York City was covered by a thick toxic fog that lasted for 3 days, resulting from stagnant air that prevented the dispersal of pollution.